intended.
Yeah.
Joe Jackson, that's very clever, isn't it?
It is, absolutely, yeah.
Isn't it brilliantly done?
Would you like a cigarette? No?
Don't smoke.
You don't smoke, right?
Oh.
Well, lads,
Oh,
well,
right.
we've
Okay.
lots for everyone who wants to come in and have a cigarette today. I'm actually fine at the moment, or at least I am so far. Listen, Joe, you are a member of the music critics for the Smithwick's Half Price Awards.
Yes.
Which took place last night, as we know, in the ODS. Two things to say to you. Firstly, the newspaper coverage. Do you want to just pass me over the star there? What is all this not really hot and not very impressive, say the Star?
Well, I would really rather you would have quoted from the Irish Times and given my newspaper.
They've robbed it on me, as always.
Okay.
The Times first thing to go.
I'm sure it's a much more balanced and sober response.
Yeah. What's all this about, though?
Yeah, the problem I'd find with that, and I read also The Independent this morning, is that it tends to turn these kind of functions into a what celebrities did and didn't show affair,
Right.
which I don't think is what they're about. I
But
mean,
it's what people always.
And it's very important, though, to people, isn't
But
it?
why is it? I would rather think that the awards that are given and the choice of the critics, and as you noted before the show, like 39 critics voted for these people.
39. I remember when I was on.
I think
this
that's more
panel,
important. Sorry,
there was
than the
12.
stars that didn't come
There's
up.
39. Yeah, there's 39 of that. Now,
Why 39, Joe?
Bigger parties.
He wouldn't become the 40th when we asked him.
I offered to make it up. But I mean, the idea is because the whole business has expanded, right? It's local papers, it's local radio.
Well, that's why it's interesting, because it's not just... I mean, these kind of awards probably go back to the music papers in the 60s, but it was always just music critics, reviewers, people who interviewed stars. But now it's producers, it's local producers, it's radio DJs, it's print magazine interviewers, newspaper, all the different
Become much
newspapers,
bigger, so
television, the
hasn't
whole
it?
thing.
Yeah,
RTA, you know, I mean, there are people from the whole spectrum there judging.
Right.
And
So listen, when you went to the meeting, the lunch, and it was a lunch, I suppose.
It was, yeah. My black eye has just kind of faded.
Was it somewhere
I was very
nice?
happy it was
somewhere
gone by
nice,
this morning.
Yeah.
It was up. Well, now, am I supposed to plug the hotel?
No,
I'd say
no.
it was up near where the Holy Boys of Ireland live, the Killiney.
Killiney. Oh, very good,
area.
very good. So you go to this lunch. There's 39 of you.
Yeah.
How do you decide between 39 people who's good and not so good and who's fab?
Well,
and
yeah. No, the
deserving?
best part about it is, and this is why they're always in this kind of situation. There are people who assume it's a fix.
Yeah.
Now, the point about it, all I know is who I voted for, and I voted as an Irish Times music critic.
Right.
When we went to the dinner, I mean, there would be casual conversations about who was and wasn't up for awards. But when you vote, you just take home the form you're given on your own, you fill it in on your own,
So it's
you
separate
close it in
first.
an envelope, and you don't vote. Nobody else knows who you voted for.
Any canvassing? Anybody ever ring you and kind of say, Joe?
Well, I'm totally open to bribes if I'm on it next year. Nobody
You're the man
did.
after my
There's
own
none
heart.
of that,
I love it. That's the way to do it. But listen,
Okay, you take these cigarettes home there, right?
Yes, exactly. Anyway, look, we have some of the winners here today. Nice to see you, Christy. Good to have you in. That is going to be the new single, am I right? Sit yourself down. Go on, get comfy.
And the third award.
It's a lovely piece of jewellery. It's
I
fantastic.
like the earrings.
Listen, that breaks our table. We're finished. You know that, don't you? Christy, is that going to be the new single, yeah?
It is, yeah. It's we hadn't released anything abroad, and we're releasing Crazy World in England this month, and then we're releasing Rain Man as our next single. So we're waiting to catch up with Ireland so we can release it simultaneously. You know.
Right, indeed. It's a great song.
So it's an exclusive, actually, that it's our new single. Nobody else knew that.
Excellent, excellent. Now you've been on this programme, no one does know anyway. So there it is. Listen, you're all very welcome. Did you have a good time last night? I mean, these awards are a bit kind of, I'll slap your back if you slap mine. And I'm not being cynical here, but sometimes it can be a bit like that.
Well, I mean,
but it's very
is any
relevant,
award?
this one.
Is any award not that, no?
Huh?
Is any award not that? I'd slap
Perhaps,
you
but
over.
this has been going so long and it has a great credibility, doesn't it? The
Well,
Hot
yeah,
Press
I
Award.
think the hot press. Oh, they never kind of swayed to fashion, I don't think. You know, like there were bands that were extremely fashionable at the time that they didn't necessarily give the awards to, you know. And that's one thing that I like about this particular award, you know. It has a lot of credibility for us, you know, because it's a critics award, you know.
That's right.
It doesn't depend on how many records you've sold in the last year, which is cool, you know.
It's being worth a damn is what helps you out in this one. Jimmy, when you think about your own situation, there's an awful lot of songwriters in this country, and it must be very difficult for people like Joe and 39 of them in a room to say, well, this is better than that, because there's so many really good ones. But you've been writing songs for so many famous people, successful songs for so long. It's nice to have this accolade, yeah?
It really is. It's the first time I've received an award, and you know, I really enjoyed it last night. It was the first time I had
time.
Yeah. My back loved it last night. You know? But I appreciate it very much. But I accepted the award on behalf of all of the songwriters, you know, who weren't receiving awards, because, you know, those people who out there who believe in the song word and they continue to work and are kissed by heaven, but at the moment not blessed by the music industry or whatever. And you know, it's
Can I write
it's
that
a
down,
long
or is
road.
that already in a song?
No, that's copyright.
Right.
But I think that for me it was great to receive that award, but I recognise that there are you know, brilliant people out there, you know.
Yeah.
Are there a lot out there that...
The place is bulging at the seams.
Yeah, but look at the stuff you've written. I mean,
You
Ride
know.
On for Christy, Ancient Rain for Mary, and No Frontiers, which has been I mean, come on. I think the probability is that you didn't get an award up now because everyone assumed you'd already got one. I think there's very good.
I'm amazed that you've never
You know,
received
that
an
really
award.
comes as
To
quite
me,
a-
you're one of the best songwriters in the country, without a doubt. So I think
Well, I
You
think-
prefer songwriting to performing, don't you?
It depends. If it's songwriting is a very solitary existence, and I'm a very slow songwriter. In very many ways, I take my time to finish a song and things like that. But I love to perform when things are, you know, when we have the conditions. And, you
Right.
know, so
Joe,
both, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Jimmy's failing to mention that, like, you probably got the award this year because of your own solo albums. I mean, previously, as you mentioned, Jimmy would be known as the songwriter
That's
for.
right.
But the fact that you produced two highly recommended albums, you know, and beautifully realised albums, I think, is what
Right.
swung it this year.
Uh,
You know what I mean? Particularly the latest album.
That's right.
You know,
So
I
you
that-
think it's sort of a sign of recognition for you.
Yeah.
But for us, in the market that we operate in, the dance music, it's been underground in Ireland. It's underground all over Europe.
But
But
isn't
in
that
Ireland in particular, and this for us was an accolade, it's more than an award. It's sort of like our key to the executive washroom. And it was
right.
really, really... No,
but
it was
you
nice.
could have the key to the executive washroom in Warner Brothers, if I'm not mistaken. But you've turned it down. You've been approached by Warner's and kind of thought, nah, I don't want to do that.
Well, no, you see, I don't know, it's like you have a car and the car is breaking down,
Yeah.
okay? So what do? You go out and buy another car. It's going to break down eventually. You've got to take a stand and fix your car. So what's the point? Like, we had to learn everything from the ground up,
Right.
from an underground point of view. And if we were to get involved with somebody large like Warner Brothers, we'd have to train all of them, and they will resist that. And people are
You have to
resisting
train
it.
You
all of
train
them.
them, is it?
We have to.
How do
It's
we
a
train
different
them?
style of music. You promote it differently. You make your videos differently. Nobody understands.
Right.
And it's very, very difficult for us trying to interface with the mechanism that's now in place.
Yeah.
But if you were to go into somewhere like Warner's, they're all doing their jobs. They're all used to their jobs. They do them very, very well. And when something new comes along like this, which it's an awful lot of effort
Do you
for
think
them
that
to
kind of
understand.
problem exists right across big record companies?
It does. And for we get approximately 3 demo tapes a week from children in their bedrooms. I'm saying,
We should
using that
explain.
term
We
very
should explain.
lightly.
We haven't explained Red Records. We should explain
Oh,
what you're about.
well, Red Records is an independent record label. It's all very romantic and sort of indie label and stuff, but it's more than that. We have to do everything ourselves. And
Yeah.
we have from the
And
beginning.
how many singles have you released so far?
We're up to single 27 and album 3.
Yeah, just explain that just for those who mightn't be aware of that.
Explain what?
Just that that's what you do. We didn't actually
Oh, right,
say that
yeah,
in
well-
terms of the introduction earlier on.
Independent record label.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the
So the
difference-
thing is, you could be swallowed up by going with this big company.
No, it's not that. It's just we'd have to start again. Like, at the moment, myself and Mark Kavanagh, and I'm not going to name the rest of the staff and the Sound Crowd thing, which is loads and loads of people. There are hundreds of people involved.
Yeah.
We've all started with nothing and just had an idea, let's do something. And the next day was sort of, why didn't we do that 6 years ago? Kick in the ass, come on, move on. And you learn as you go along, that's grand. It's very difficult to get our stuff listened to and so on. It's alien to everybody, it's computers making the music. I'm not going to get deep into why it's so different, but the point is, people are resisting this change. And next year it won't be dance music. Next year it'll be pop music. It's happening all over Europe.
So what will you do then?
What will we do then?
Yeah, will you?
Oh,
will
we're going to
you-
carry on.
You're going
You
to
know,
keep.
unfortunately, I see a split coming.
Yeah.
Where the underground will become sort of pop music, and you'll be left with rock music as it is now, and the industry as it is now will become trad, which is a
Right.
pity because it's.
Well, what Christy does and what anybody that we can think of does, Jimmy, obviously, it's very different to what you're about.
Well, they decided they want to be musicians.
Oh, I know
or
that.
Songwriters.
I know.
and
How do you feel
stuff.
about that?
We
Because some
didn't.
people are very kind of self-righteous when it comes to.
I don't know what,
sort of
I don't
thing
know
Tim is
the
doing.
point we're making here. I think any band going into a record company, I mean, we're with BMG Records,
Yeah.
and we have to go in and educate those people as to what we need and what we want. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if it'd be any different
Right,
to
but the
any
music
band
you're
going
making
in.
isn't totally alien to them.
But I don't
I
think
don't
your
think
music.
dance
I think
is
that's-
very alien to anything
I don't think
either.
your dance
you know?
music is that alien. I think that's a bit of an indie pose that's projected. I mean, you're with Solid Records. It's kind of semi-big
We're not
label.
with Solid Records. We're with
They
ourselves.
distribute your. They
They
distribute your
distribute,
label.
so you're part of a deal with
No,
them.
that's a handshaking deal. They take care of us in Ireland, and we have a
But
deal
you're
in
still
England.
availing
and-
of their facilities,
um,
which is part of getting at the edge of a major label. And I don't think I don't think
but
the music
that's
is
as close
that
as we
alien.
could get to the establishment and still, you know, hold some sort of control on what's going on.
I really don't think there's that much difference between what Christy's doing, Jimmy doing, and what you're doing.
Well,
You know, the audiences are different, but the mechanisms in getting the music to the people are much the same.
no, they're completely different. I'll have to disagree.
All right.
Eileen from Cork.
Well, we'll
was
chat
on.
about it later.
Yeah, right.
Eileen from Cork was on, has nothing whatsoever to say about the indie situation. She just says Jimmy McCarthy sings his own songs better than anyone else. He should always sing them himself. In other words, don't be giving them away anymore. Well, that's just what Joe was saying. Because
I
now
think
there
that
you are
songs-
with the albums now.
You know, for songs to be sung is a great compliment, and for
I
me,
see,
it's one of the
yeah.
greatest buzzes that I've had in my life was to have people, you know, doing songs and the same song done in several different ways.
Yeah.
It's
Jimmy, going back to the songwriting and songwriters, why aren't more songwriters coming to the fore? do you think?
well, I think one of you see we're in a unique situation here is that the amount of talent in such a small country, you know, is amazing. There's just
too
not
much.
enough space. There's too much almost. But songwriters, in comparison, you know, when I accepted the award last night, the people to the forefront of my mind were people like Noel Brazil, Leo O'Kelly, formerly of Tiernan Oak.
Yeah.
These people who are just genius type people, you know.
Yeah.
And the important thing for a songwriter is that a singer-songwriter traditionally would get an album deal and songs would be covered from it. And for me to come to the notice, we'll say, of this award at a time like this, which I really do appreciate, is because, like you said, Joe, of the records and stuff like that. It isn't that I wasn't doing the thing before that.
That's right.
So the same thing applies to, you know, the industry out there. And outside of this country, if a vehicle, i.e. a CD or a record, goes abroad to America or England,
But you're
with the
Sony now,
songs...
aren't you? You're on Sony.
I'm on Sony.
You're on Sony. So is
Yes.
that an international deal or is it just for Ireland?
Well, it's an international deal, but it hasn't gone out anywhere yet.
And
I
would that
think
be the
it's gonna
same
go
as
out in
you,
England.
Christy, for as
Yeah,
well?
it's all like when you sign it. Usually, if a label as big as Sony or BMG sign you, what they do is they sign you for the whole world, and it's up to them. They hold the option as to whether they release you
Right.
on a worldwide basis. Now, we've just, you know, after a lot of kind of negotiating, have eventually got some sort of a deal where our stuff is being released abroad. You know,
Right.
and
Listen,
Jimmy would be in the same
Do
position.
you know James Kelly? James Kelly?
I don't
James
think
Kelly
so.
says, was Charlie Moorhead the song that Christy recorded, written with his old school teacher in mind?
Oh no, I know he's
I
talking
don't mean to
about.
put you on the spot here, by the way.
No, no, he's talking
It
about.
came in as a call.
We were doing a thing the other day, and it was this. We had a teacher called Moonhead, but I think, and Charlie Moonhead was just
Yeah.
a skinhead, you know. It was just
All right, yeah.
coincidence.
Moonhead, great name for a
That's the same
teacher.
person.
It's an excellent name for a teacher. Listen, I'm interested. Does anybody smoke?
Oh, would you like a cigarette?
Anybody? You smoke, Christy? You want some
You
flat
want the
cigarettes?
lights?
This
I
is
want
like-
to die
Jimmy-
slowly.
Oh, do you want the,
Jimmy-
oh, then you want the
Jimmy-
white ones?
Why have you given
Jimmy,
them
you
up to
smoke,
me?
don't you?
No, he's
Jimmy,
given
you
them up.
Three.
What? Yeah, yeah. What?
Well, yeah, scary
Which ones do you want? I have them. Joe,
They're
I
the
know
lights,
you
by
don't.
the way.
No, Joe
Death
doesn't.
lights.
They're
No,
the
serious
lights,
critics,
these are the stronger
serious
ones.
critics don't smoke. It's important to say this.
Oh, yes, Joe.
Listen, thank you all for coming in. Congratulations with the awards
Thank you
as
very
well.
much.
And good luck to Aslan and Jimmy.